and welcome back, friends and fellow adventurers. It is I, Wolfe Scott, and you are back here with Level 1 Adventuring again tonight. It is a pleasure to have you. If you are unfamiliar with me or this channel, I'm glad to welcome you. I am the resident host and game master. I run all of the events and various different RPG systems that you're going to see on the stream. What is Level 1? If you're new to us, we are a role-playing game, both digital RPG and tabletop RPG platform. We play big group games that you're probably familiar with, like D&D. We have a big campaign running, a 5th edition homebrew thing. And we also run smaller, more independent games, including solo games, which is what you're going to see tonight. You're going to see a little bit of a playthrough. The man, the myth, the Nebra, he says, if only I was truly Nebra in body more than spirit. I'd probably get a lot more done. I'd be a lot less likable, but I'd get a lot more done. So yes, we're going to be playing a little bit of a solo RPG tonight that we've been running, a little bit of an ongoing campaign. Depending on how we play, maybe the last one. We'll see if my previous indication is anything. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to see chat, and I've, like, put so many obstacles in my way of what I'm trying to view, which is very unfortunate. Nar! Hey, Nar, good to see you. There, now I've moved things. I can see everybody a bit better. Let me run through my usual spiel. So we know that we're playing a solo RPG tonight. We know that we are playing Reap by Gila RPG, Spencer Campbell. That should be linked in our chat right now. Reap is a Souls-like solo RPG, a highly tactical game experience, right? Which is sort of based off of some of the mechanics that you might find in a Souls game, like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, all that stuff. But translated into a TTRPG world, it's based off of a previous creation. Oh, cat attack! Where's she at? Oh, she chilling? She being baby? She being baby? Based off of a previous creation Gila has made called Rune, which is very Souls-like indeed, a sort of a spiritual evolution of the entire framework of Souls, whereas Reap uses a lot of those same mechanics, but instead translates it into the story of a necromancer, right? Who's traveling the world and reaping souls and doing all sorts of spooky, nefarious things, which we'll get up to. Was attacking what looks like either jeans or a denim jacket. Oh yeah, my denim jacket on the back of my chair. Wow, she must. Maybe she's hunting. Maybe she's hunting like a little fly or something. She's pretty vicious when you give her the shot. So yes, Reap is currently being play tested. These are the playtest rules we're going to be running through tonight, and it is also being kickstarted. So the link to the Kickstarter and Gila's pages where you could buy Rune and Reap and all the other products are in our chat right now. You can check that out, and we'll also be linked to the YouTube, which, hey, by the way, follow us on all the socials, follow us on all of our platforms, follow us on YouTube. That's where previous episodes of this game and other games will be, including the D&D campaign, the long-form campaign. And also, check out our Discord, because we're going to be playing D&D there as a community very soon. It's going to be a little play-by-post community, and we'd love to have you. Thank you to Tabletop Audio for all of the music that's going to be gracing our stream tonight, because we're going to need some atmosphere and some battle music. And thank you very much to StreamLabs and StreamSpell for all of the digital effects that are gracing your screen, or soon will be gracing your screen, as we continue on with our playthrough tonight. So I believe that's everything that I usually say. Oh, and thank you, everyone. Thank you to Nar and Undercover for showing up, and anybody else who filters in. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you all so much for the growth that we've seen. A kitty perching on couch. Yeah, she gargoyles sometimes. She gargoyling. She'd be sleepy, though. Yeah, big thank you to everybody who has been helping the Level 1 community sort of blossom and grow these past couple weeks. Our Twitter especially has blown up. We have a lot of people who have become recent followers and have given us really great feedback on a lot of the free 5th edition creations that I post there. Nar and I talked about the previous creation, which was the Vampirosaurus Rex. And I just released the Vampiraptor, another creature that we talked about. So there's lots of fun stuff that you can see on Twitter, and thank you everyone for helping to grow that journey. Chat says perfect loaf. Yeah, she does know how to loaf really well. My cat stretches out, sees a baguette. My cat likes to do, does do the one paw sometimes. Just like puts one paw out into the ether. I mean, I'd say for no reason, but who am I to know? Maybe there is a very definite reason, but she's reaching. But I don't see it. It's only for her eyes only. But with that being said, why don't we take a look at where we were before? Let's hit that solo. My computer, there we go. That's looking pretty good. Let's get back to the whole desktop situation. Put us back in. Yeah, that's everything we need. Back into performance mode. So, Reap. Reap is a very highly tactical game. Reap is all about balancing die rolls as you travel across a sort of point-based map, which we have... Oh, that's not my point-based map. Where's my point-based map? Where's my point-based map? There we go. There's my point-based map. And can I... Oh, no, I don't want to use you right now, Grammarly. I do want to use you a lot of the times, but right now is not when. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Narsa's performing the somatic components of cat magic. Yeah, she is a tabaxi sorcerer. Using, what is that, subtle spell? Where you burn some meta magic and then no one can see what you're getting up to. My other cat is an idiot, likes to jump in the bathtub. Piper was doing this thing for a little while where she would go into the bathtub when it was off and just chill in there. And I don't know why. Like, there's nothing going on. She wouldn't make a sound. She would literally just loaf in a dry bathtub for a little bit. But then she has since stopped. I don't really know what that temporary obsession was, but she's done with that now. Maybe nice and cool. Yeah, you're right. So this is our playtest realm of Kyrie. This is the first sort of landmass that Agile RPGs has created for this game system, and we've been playing through it for about 2 sessions now, so we're probably towards the tail end, where I could talk through all of the mechanics, but there are 2 previous episodes for you to watch, but the main thing you have to know is we move from point to point. The changing of points changes time on the realm clock, which these little circles right here filling up our various clocks show that time has passed. When a certain amount of time has passed within the world, things happen, which are usually bad for us. And this is all transpiring while we are trying to fight monsters and cultists and defeat what is known as a horror. Every world has its own horror, which is kind of like its big bad boss monster. And should we slay the horror, then we absorb its essence, its soul, and as a necromancer, that makes us a lot more powerful. And so that's sort of our goal, right? We're going from realm to realm, hunting these powerful dark creatures, and then collecting their essence for our own devices. Nar says, my cat does what I call the flop, where he'll just randomly fall over intentionally and sprawl out. Yeah, Piper does that occasionally sometimes too. She actually did it for the first time on my desk while I was sitting at it not too long ago, which was very sweet. On my keyboard, right? But like, it was very much like a, hey, pay attention to me. It was very sweet. Mine too, and she's a chonker. Piper, I'd like to say that Piper is round. I don't know if she's fully considered chonk status, but she's round. She's like potato. So who are we? What's happening right now for those of us who are just joining the stream? Well, we are Lazarus Grimstone. This is our necromancer. Lazarus, we've decided, is sort of a neutral evil figure, doesn't really want to outright hurt or destroy anyone, but does want to consolidate a lot of personal magical power, and so hunting horrors for his own ends is very much within his realm and right to increase his scope of power as a necromancer. When you play Reap, you'll be able to create a starting build based off of different spells and weapons. In the playtest, there's only one weapon, but there are several spells. So that'll take us over to our build, right? We've decided to go with a bit of a minion build, so we have the ability to summon skeletons, which is a pretty classic necromancer power. And we also have the ability to turn into a ghost-like form and teleport. And we have a scythe, which we carve people up with and take all of their parts, their corpse parts. And then we have a Neophyte's Tome, a dark spell book, which allows us to manipulate our spells even further. So some of these items, they will be the starting items that you yourself can download and play with if you use, I'm looking at our chat. It looks like, I just updated our little dragon familiar Beans to be able to interact with chat, but it looks like it's interacting with our other bot, so I'm gonna fix that later. But yeah, you can interact with Beans now. Beans always hungry. You can talk to Beans. Beans will react to stuff that you do. That should be fun for everybody. So a lot of these spells and weapons will be the default ones that you find in the book when it comes into full release. Hopefully, I'm assuming there will be more spells and weapons waiting for you when the full release is out. So you'll be able to have even more. Dang. Oh yeah, there you go. Bean says, thanks for the meat. Watch as I cook it with my fire breath. Wow, look at this. Look at this. Look at this text generation. Deliciously cooked meat. Beans. Good job, Undercover. Beans liked that one. Beans needed to roast that meat first, but you fed Beans well. So yes, that is going to be our starting build. So what's been the story so far of our tale, our journey? We came to the doomed realm of Kyrie, which, as far as we've seen, was sort of dominated by this corrupted chapel, right? This darkened temple. We've seen evidence of the priesthood there, sacrificing innocent villagers. We've seen that the forest is being corrupted by some sort of demonic influence. We've seen cultists, which are cavorting with imps and raising the dead. And we now have seen that there are congregations of this evil cult in the wilderness who are teaching people their ways and singing this dark chant, which echoes throughout the entire island, right? Which I guess is further twisting it into the dark whims of the horror. We've also learned that the horror of this realm used to be a member of this very same village, this very same congregation, a person by the name of Lysander, which we've named Lysander, the cursed hymn keeper. And so we know that Lysander is shut up in the chapel, and it's probably going to be our duty to eventually put Lysander down. But for now, we've been traveling across the island, putting down Lysander's cultists wherever they may find, or these undead that they raise, or these demons that they have decided to throw their lot in with. And so now we've pretty much discovered most of the island zones, and we're kind of on a return journey back. We're kind of getting all of our stuff together so that we can take the fight to Lysander, the big boss of the zone, and hopefully put him down for sure. Beans going off in chat again. Hey, does anybody have any snacks? Beans, you just ate. He wants burgers and cookies, and you just ate, Beans. Chill out. So yeah, when we last left Lazarus, who is our necromancer, Lazarus Grimstone, sort of a terrifying figure with a smoky voice. Undercover says just fed you. Exactly, Beans. Come on. Greedy. We just actually... Wow, okay, Nar. Bean says, thanks for the cookie. It's so delicious. Oh, I feel a surge of power already. We were heading back to a village that we had previously visited because in the... Gotta have dessert, says Nar, exactly. You have to have a well-rounded meal. When we went off into the wilderness, we found a little cult hideout there, and when we slew the sort of acolyte leading it, we found a key, which the key was leading us back to the village. So where we left off was we were just heading back into the village with our key, and we were about to use the key to unlock wherever we were going to go. and seeing what the result of that would be. So I've done a little bit of looking ahead and a little bit of setting up, so I should be all right to see what this means for us. If I go to 0.5, oh sorry, not 0.5, 0.4, is that the village? 2. Yeah, look at me doing a good job at math. It's 5, it's 4, it's 2. So I've already marked down the delve, so I should not have to cross out any more time on our realm sheet. I was doing a lot of mental math trying to save us precious time on the realm clock last time we were together. So we have used the Acolyte's Key to open the delve. Every point will have multiple... Usually, every point on the map will have multiple things you can interact with. Delves are usually little explorations or side quests that you can take so long as you fulfill a certain amount of prerequisites, right? In this case, we needed to have the Acolyte's Key, which we do. Undercover said mental math will drive you mental. Listen, it's too late for me. It's too late for me, Undercover. It's been too late. Both for my mental fortitude and my ability to do math. It's all lost. But we have the key. So we are able to unlock this next zone in the town. Barricades surround a home. A makeshift defense put up by the townsfolk. As you turn the key, you hear a roar from the inside. Now, I have already... done a little crafting ahead of time. So this should actually be our battle map. Now we still have 1 point of damage from us from the previous fight with the Acolyte. We managed to summon another super skeleton, which absorbed most of the brunt of the damage we would have suffered, as we are wont to do with our minions. But the setup for this fight looks to be, we've unlocked a new part of the town, right? We sort of unlocked a little gatehouse. And when we find that there are 2 cultists here, right? If I'm, let me see, cultist times 2, right? The same cultists that we fought in other areas of the town, plus an Ashborn. And the Ashborn, we didn't get an official description of them in the playtest documents. In Rune, the game that this was based off of, every creature had a descriptor, so I sort of surmised that they were creatures of the forest, which were, you know, transformed by this fiery, hellish magic, which has been manifesting in Kyrie. So to us, they sort of resemble... Let me take a look at... I should still have my art assets here and available for you to look at. Yeah, they kind of look like these creatures made of twisted twigs and burnt wood that has like a fiery furnace burning in their heads to motivate them. So it seems like the townsfolk have quartered off a section of their village, which is having incursions from the Ashborn, and it looks like the cultists here, perhaps this is part of the town which has been falling into Lysander's clutches. You know, as we unlock the gatehouse, we can hear the chanting, the hymns, the cursed songs of Lysander's twisted church raised throughout the different cabins and hutches and huts. And we can see that there are, you know, twisted effigies bound in these gnarled roots, and charred branches that perhaps once we cross the threshold begin to creak and twist with unnatural life, as what was once acting sort of like as lanterns, you know, lighting the sort of the streets below, burn with a malevolent new light. As the Ashborn makes itself known, and like, you know, spews black dust out of its ragged maw as the cultists all turn their head towards the town. A defiler of Lysander's creed. Come, child of Lysander's will, lay this heretic down. As you know, Lazarus, with his sarcophagus on his back, we've determined that Lysander carries around all of his, Nar says, by the way, do you think your skeletons take on somewhat of the appearance of whatever you got the most recent body components from? I would assume, yeah, they're probably like an amalgamation of them. You know, when we reap, as far as I understand from the reap mechanics, you know, we don't get to salvage everything, because there are certain monsters where we salvage more parts than others. So yeah, I imagine the skeletons are probably imperfect recreations of like a couple different beings which have been like hodgepodge together with our necromancy, right? And because, you know, our skeletons, at least by the strictest of rule understandings, like the skeletons don't technically follow us from adventure to adventure, or I should say from fight to fight, right? Like we have to resummon them every fight. We have chosen to narrate that we carry our bones with us as a means to make sure that Necroku, the spirit of Necroku, our super skeleton, can always be with us. But if we were going by rules as the most as intended, you know, the bones would always be like a new skeleton composed of entirely new parts. Narcissus, so you might get some undead versions of those twig blight things. Yeah, in fact, if we take a look at what parts can we get from an Ashborn? Oh, interestingly enough, see, so this is some of that good design coming into play from Gila RPGs. You can see on the Ashborn stat block, we actually don't cultivate bones. We actually only cultivate body parts, right? So yeah, we could say that like some of the especially if we use body parts to power up our undead spells, which we can do. The what do you call it? The summon skeleton spell does allow us to use body parts at our whim. You could say that some of the body mass of the skeleton has been reinforced with like some of this charred wood pulp and vines, right? So it's like primarily bone, but then like bolstered together with some of that rotten wood, that burnt wood. But yeah, if we look at the Ashborn stat block, we actually don't cultivate bones from Ashborn. We just get body chunks. So interesting, and you know, once again, a good call out in terms of the design of the game, which we love to see good design happening. But it sounds like we're gonna get into a fight with some cultists and an Ashborn. So let's put on slightly more exciting music, right? And let's also, if I zoom this in, what does that look like? That's a little bit better. Okay. All right, so here we go. We have Cultist 1. I'm going to say Cultist up to help me remember. Cultist down. And then Ashborn. I'm going to say Cultist D. DN. To help me remember what they were going to be rolling for their various actions. And if we are new to our run of Reap, once again, we use our dice. Every monster rolls a d6, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And so that is a Fleetwood! Hey, good to see you! Happy to have you here with us. You're just in time to get us into a fight. Maybe it's your fault, Fleetwood, I don't know. Get into a fight with some cultists and some Ashborn. So happy to have you. So we got a 2, a 1, and a 4. So, as usual, when it comes to combat, we roll a d6 for each enemy, we determine what they do, then we move those enemies and resolve any non-damaging effects that they have. Then we resolve our actions as the Reaper, rolling as many dice as we have stamina, which is 2. And we actually resolve our harm first, so we have a bit of an initiative up on the enemies. Then we deal harm from the enemies, if applicable, and then we also check for the end of the round if we get to reap any body parts. So, if we got a 2 and a 1 and a 4, that means we can take a look at what the monsters are meant to do and have them take that action. So Cultist 1 got a 2. which is a move 1, harm 1. So definitely going to get closer to the town gate. He's coming through the gate! Hurry! And then cultist down also got a 1, so same thing. I'm right behind you, faithful of Lysander. As the other cultist moves further. The Ashborn got a 4, which is a move 2, harm 1, and burn. Which luckily we cannot suffer that burn quite yet, but it may be something we have to worry about in the near future. Oh, look at Beans! Beans is talking to Nar. Oh, and also asking about undead characters. Oh, wow, Beans knows you, Nar. Beans is like, hey, do you want to play a minion character? Nar's like, that's my favorite. So the Ashborn's gonna move 2. The enemies have to move the shortest distance to reach us. So I think that means it's gotta go 1, 2. Because enemies cannot move diagonally. Neither can we. Everybody has to move orthogonally in this game. So, yes, you can see the cultists are beginning to mobilize as the Ashborn sort of like body twists and cricks as like steam and smoke echoes out throughout the little cracks in its wood-like flesh as it begins to stride closer towards the town gate. Beans, you stare directly into my soul, says Nar. Hilarious! Beans is like, I was just on the lookout for snacks. That's so funny. I love how smart this like new thing is. It like knows. Alright. So luckily we have a little bit of time before the monsters will be able to reach us, but we're kind of having our backs against the wall at the edge of the barricade here, so we're gonna have to figure out what's happening with Laz. So let's open up our build, which is right here, and let's roll our die and see what's going on. Whoa! 2 6s! Starting off the battle right. That is great for us. That is going to be a really high impact play, whatever happens. So let's take a look at our options. We can move to harm 2, which is a very big move. And we can also summon a skeleton, which would be very useful. Yeah, I think what we do here, I think we may be able to take down a cultist. Let me look at their health again. 3 health. Oh, cultists, okay. Skeletons have a range of 1. So if we cash in one of these 6s for a summoned skeleton, right? So, and I don't think we're going to use any of our resources to make a super skeleton. We want to save some of that stuff for the boss that's coming up very soon. You know what I mean? Because we have what? Yeah, we want to save some of our resources here. If we use our 6 to summon in a skeleton in an adjacent empty space, which is right here. Wow, Beans knows all about Skyrim and its wacky mods. I guess it probably also knows about Nebra at this point. That's so funny. If we move the skeleton into an adjacent space, we can also resolve the skeleton's movement, right? So we can put the skeleton right here, because it has a move of 1, and it's going to deal... Narcissist, does Beans use ChatGPT or something? I believe it does. I don't know all the entirety of the workings of the new install I just put in, but I believe it does use some form of that, yeah. So it should be able to hold a pretty decent conversation with chat from now on, which is fun. And react to things, which is cool. Yeah, we summon 1. The skeleton has 2 health. And cultist down is only dealing 1 harm. So if we move 2, we go 1, 2, because we can occupy the same space as our skeleton. The skeleton has a range of 1. Our scythe blade has a range of 1. We're dealing 2 damage. The skeleton is dealing 1 damage. So 3 damage total. And the cultist only has 3 health. So I think we're able to get the drop. I think we can actually get the drop on this guy since all of our effects resolve first. So move enemies, complete non-harm actions, resolve Reaper actions, complete actions. Yeah. Wow, Beans is gonna go download some Skyrim mods after this. Beans probably has a better computer rig than I do. Yeah, so two damage from our scythe plus 1 damage from the skeleton equals 3 total on the cultist, which is a slaying strike. Now, because we are equipped with the scythe, we don't have to wait to the end of the round to cultivate the body parts, to reap the body parts. We do it immediately, right? So, what can we reap from a cultist? Whenever we can choose one. We can choose body, bones, or blood. Body, bones, or blood. I think, what do we have right now? We have 2 body parts, we have 2 bones, and 1 blood. I think we should even it out. There's not a lot of monsters that we've been fighting lately that gives us blood. So yeah, I think that's an instant kill. So, you know, the cultists, the blood for the blood gods. You know, the cultists are wheeling around. They hear us enter their domain. They say, "Heretic, Lysander will fell you before you have a chance to step into his temple." And you just see the glowing eyes from behind Lazarus's hood. "Your god, Lysander, is a lie, a false one, and I will ensure that its reign of darkness finally comes to an end." As I run forward, shing, brandishing the sickle, and raising my hand upward as the ground beneath the feet of the cultist ruptures as a being composed of pure bone retches upward and begins to claw at the cultist's robes. The cultist tries to struggle for a moment, but it is too late as that razor-sharp blade plunges itself in just chest first with a death rattle. There's a splatter of red on Lazarus's robes as you begin to see some mysterious magical energy fuming at the edge of the scythe as the blood is drawn up through the metal of my blade and then levitated into the air and cultivated into the cracks and slits in the sarcophagus on our back as we absorb the blood into our vessel. We claim the cultist's blood, and its now bloodless, lifeless body collapses at our feet. "Another useless wretch who has pledged falseness to Lysander," says Lazarus as he claims the cultist. That's a kill early on. Dang. We are so bossed up. I mean, we started off with really strong with 2 6s. You gotta love a really good starting hand. So we're gonna erase cultist down from the equation. And the other monsters cannot resolve their damage effects, so we go back to the top of the round. So let's take a look back here. We only have 2 monsters to worry about. So we are going to roll both of their stamina die. We got 1, 2, a 4, and a 1. So the 1's probably not going to do much for that Ashborn, but the 4 might be pretty good for the cultist. Let's see. It's a move 1, harm 2. So it's going to take them a while to get to us. We might be able to kite them around this little village square for a little bit. We don't have any ranged spell options, though, so we're going to have to probably commit to a direction. The Ashborn has a 1, which means it gets to move 1, harm 1. So what is the shortest distance? 1, 2, 3, 4... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, Ashborn would continue to follow its cultist resurrector. As the cultist turns around, wheels the corner, and sees us plunging our sickles out of the corpse of their fallen comrade. Do not worry, faithful of Lysander. Your life's work will be repaid in his church, his sermons. Your soul will be part of his ancient and eternal song. As once again, you can see the firelight growing on the back of the cultist robes as the Ashborn continues to shamble forward. Smoke pouring out of its maw. So that brings it back to us. Let's roll our stamina die. So you have a 1 and a 6. So the 1 is actually pretty not great. Nar says, I love that we can actually have a conversation with beings now. Me too. I'm really glad I stumbled upon this. Big thanks to stream friend Stella K, who also runs D&D games. Check out her stream for finding it and recommending it to me. And also, Beans should be able to react to all of our normal channel redeems. So when you grant inspiration, when you say something was funny or scary or whatever, Beans should be able to clock that now and recognize that. Beans should also be able to recognize when it changes forms, when you shape change it, and when it fights other dragons. So Beans is pretty reactive. Unfortunately, that 1 on the die is kind of a whiff for us. We could use it as a teleport, but is it worth teleporting? What's our other roll? Our other roll is a 6, which could be a harm 2. How much damage can an Ashborn suffer is the question. 4. So let's do some math here. Beans, of course Beans is gonna think I'm doing a great job of this run of Reap. How dare you suggest otherwise, Nar? Undercover, what does GM Intrusion do again? GM Intrusions they only really work when we play the Cypher system. The GM Intrusions allow you to add a plot twist into the game of your choosing, right? Which then I have to either integrate into the story and react to, or spend experience points to ignore. So they won't do probably much good in this game, just because they're more so designed for the Cypher system. But you can still use any of the other normal fun stuff. Okay, actually though, now that I'm thinking about this, if I spend the body part for a teleport, I think I may be able to kill this cultist, right? It's kind of a roundabout way, but if I spend the 1 on Spectral Step, I will have to burn a body part to be able to do this. I can move to any empty space on the grid, and when I move through an opponent's space, they are haunted for a turn, they take 1 extra damage, right? So if I say that I use the 1 to teleport, I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that is all technically orthogonal movement. In fact, I probably could not even go up 1. I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make a big loop, right? And in the process, haunt this cultist, which means it will take 1 extra harm. Then I cash in my 6 on the scythe, which does a harm 2. And the harm 2 plus the harm 1 from this thing being haunted is 3, which should kill the cultist before it has a chance to strike back at me. It spends a body part, but then we can just get the body part back from the cultist from slaying it with our scythe immediately. So we kind of end up right back where we were, but I mean, it puts us ahead one step in the fight, which I think is kind of a worthy sacrifice. So I think that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go back to here. So I'm gonna sacrifice a body part. So yeah, I'm gonna spectral step. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this thing is haunted. So I'm gonna, can I skew it? Yeah, it's haunted, so it's sideways. It's confused. And then I will cash in my 6 on my scythe strike, which will deal 3 total damage, killing the cultist, and we can claim a body part from the cultist, which puts us back at 2. This all happens before the enemy can resolve its attack, which means that thing dies. Oh, and I also get to move my skeleton 1, and it moves 1. Beans is about to go down a deep rabbit hole with Skyrim modding. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna remember what everybody talks about, right? So it eventually will become somewhat of a an expert, or at least an obsessive when it comes to Skyrim content. That's all right. Just talk to it about other things, and it'll eventually probably override. So we'll move our skeleton because we should and we have to, although the skeleton will not be close enough to deal any direct damage yet. So once again, you know, this cultist is like shouting to us, saying like, your soul will be a part of the eternal song of Lysander. And as it's like praising Lysander, we turn our head behind the veil of our cloak as we grunt, you know, grimly beneath the folds of our mask and our robes. I've had quite enough of Lysander's impotent songs. As like we crack open our neophyte's tome and begin to whisper some dark incantations. As our physical form is shed in one sort of spectral burst, we just tear through our mortal body as we become something of a phantom, and we, like a wailing banshee, go soaring throughout the, levitating through and like phasing through some of the battlements of the town. We reappear, we pass through the body of the cultist, whose eyes go wide and arms shoot upward as like a supernatural chill rolls through his body. What sorcery is this? But before he has a chance to continue, what sorcery is... We re-manifest with our sickle in hand. And we plunge it into this cultist's chest this time around. As there's another death rattle, which escapes the hapless being's body. And immediately we tear back our sickle as shanks of its like flesh and meat are torn asunder and levitated into the air and drawn into the vessel, the sarcophagus upon our back. I will put you to good use, cultist of Lysander. As we claim those body parts for our own ends. So that cultist has been successfully reaped. We got the body parts back, which means the only thing left should be the Ashborn. Man, we are just rocking through these enemies. I'm wondering what this boss fight's gonna be like. Because our build's pretty good and we're getting pretty good dice rolls. So we go back to the top of the round. The Ashborn goes first. It gets a 2. Oh, I gotta look back at here. It's a move 1, harm 1. Okay, So it is in distance to do some damage to Lazarus. But all things considered, not a lot. We have a lot of health to play with, and this is before we figure out what our damage is going to be, so we have some room to work with here. Let's roll Lazarus' stamina die. We got 2. We got a 4 and another 6. Oh my god, so good. Does Beans know that I have destroyed that cultist? Whoa! That's actually kind of creepy how it knew that I was fighting a cultist and I killed it in a single blow. I don't know how it knows that. That's like really creepy. I love it though, but that is scary. That is scary that it knows that to a certain degree. Oh, wow. Oh, I guess because you said cultist, Nar, but wow, that is eerie how it knows. Wow, I love it though. Okay, so we got a 4 and a 6, right? Yeah, these are both good rolls. I think we might be able to take this thing down. Ashbourne has... Actually, no, that's a lie. We might not be able to kill it. Let's do some math. Let's do some math here. So with a 6 and a 4... What does my 4 do? My 4 can do a harm 2. A move 1, harm 2. Yeah, exactly. You initiated it, but you did not tell it that you killed it in a single blow. Yeah, it... Wow, it knew. Is there a world where I can kill this thing in one hit? Because if I use the 6... It has 4 health. Which means I would need to deal... This can do... I can do 2 damage max right now. The skeleton can do 1, which is a total of 3. But if I can kill it before its turn triggers, then I might be able to spare myself some damage. So is there a world where I can do that? If I use the 4... to teleport with Spectral Step. Because I can do that on a 3 to a 5, right? So I go 1, 2. Yeah, I think I can. Because I can still use the 6 as a harm 2. So... Whoa! Beans is safeguarding all of my secrets. Like a good little dragon familiar. Yeah, so I think I might be able to pull this off. If I cash in the teleport and I cash in, so I go 1, 2, so I move through the Ashbourne, right? Which is then haunted, so it's taking 1 additional damage, so it's taking 3 damage total, right? That I use that on the 4 here. Then, the skeleton also gets to move a turn, which means we corner him here, right? 2 damage from me, plus 1 damage from the skeletons equals 3, plus a bonus 1 damage from being haunted because I spectral stepped through them, equals 4, which is the Ashbourne's total health, and that triggers before the Ashbourne is turn rolls around, which means I think that's another kill. Yeah. I think that math checks out to me. If I take a look at the Ashbourne, what do I get? Body parts? Oh yeah, right. We talked about that at length earlier. Okay. So now the Ashbourne, completely divorced from the mind control of the cultists, right? You begin to see it like jitter and shake as it's collapsing under its own free will, right? Like this like demonic influence that's been implanted into this effigy, right? Is now free to roam as it like takes a look at us and lets out a horrifying hollow wail. As smoke and fire like ruptures out of its maw, it lurches forward as we turn around. Not so fast, foul incursion. Lazarus growls as once again, in a flash of spectral light, separates from his material form and floats through the Ashborn right as both of its claws are going to swipe at our body, like sort of bear hug us. We pass right through it, appearing on the other side. And unfortunately, as the Ashborn sort of looks up confusedly as we are not in its clutches, it stares up to see our skeletal servant bearing down on it, raising its own clawed hands in sort of like a double fisted wham, right against the wood. As from behind, we then rematerialize with our sickle as we cut a deep gouge into the back of the bark of this creature's body as it releases a pained rasp. And we pull the sickle free. We get to reap. So yes, we sort of carve out like wood pulp and like burnt branches, right? Which then levitates into the air and then sort of breaks down into essence as it is absorbed into the vessel upon our backs. And as we strike through the wood of the Ashborn, you can see some of the fire and heat escapes out of the wound, begins to eject into the night sky as smoke and embers, as whatever force of dark life is propelling the Ashborn forward is slowly leaked out of it as it sort of shambles forward, little bits and bobs of it sort of collapsing and falling off into tinier twigs and pieces until it finally collapses with a final onto the village floor, almost looking like a little bonfire, just like a bundle of twigs with just a faint glow of firelight at its base, as that is slain, and we get to take the body part from it as well. So we actually ended that fight with more components than we walked in with, which is great for us. Ooh, and the fight music just turned down at a perfect time since we just finished that confrontation. Perfect. Excellent, good for us. That is a victory if I ever saw one. We are so broken. I don't know. Thus ends this firelight. Wrong game. Thus ends this Ashborn, says Nar. I know, right? I'm so tempted to say firelight because I say it so much in the other playthrough. But yes, this is the Ashborn has the bad firelight in it. Obviously, Therapy Mantis Last Wish has the good firelight. Never do the two ever meet. Two opposite ends of the fire spectrum. But yeah, we have slain that Ashborn. So it looks like we've put down this renegade sector of the village for now. And let's take a look at what happens. After finishing this fight, mark the vessel just as you would after winning any other fight. In addition, refill all of your components to full. 3 each. Oh, I mean, that's a really good get. Unfortunately, we just topped up our body count. But, I mean, hey, I'll take a free bone and some free blood for the blood god. Like, 333. That's a good amount of materials to be using for the boss fight, heading forward. Nar says, oh, is 3 the max? That's a good question. Refill all of your components to full, 3 each. It does seem like it the way that is worded. Let's see, this is the Quickstart rules, right? I wonder if it states, oh, right, I don't think oh no, wait, it is. Oh, wait, this is the... Maybe it means you get 3 additional each. Let's see. If we look at our Kyrie Realm Reap Quickstart rules, let's see if there's any clarification on that. Components. We might be able to find it if we dig through the text real quick. Components. You can carry, yep, it says right here, you can carry a maximum of 3 components of each type unless stated otherwise. So there you go. At least right now for the playtest rules, maybe that's subject to change. Well, obviously it says unless stated otherwise. So I'm going to assume that there's probably, you know, some alternate builds or weapons or spells that allow you to break that rule, right? Because last time Gila joined us in chat, talked about how there's going to be like specific spells and components for, you know, bone builds and blood builds and etc. So it looks like you'll definitely be able to find ways to break those limits, but for now, because our character is in playtest and we don't have any of those special little cheats, we are at 3 max for all. But hey, I'll take it. Like I said, I don't get the full benefit of it, but still pretty decent, pretty good chunk of stuff. So that resolves our delve here. And also we would fill up our vessel as normal, but our vessel is already full, which is marked. Where do I have that marked? I have that marked on my realm cheat sheet, which is my fight sheet, yeah. So we don't have to worry about that. We already have filled our vessel. All right. Oh, I don't want to look at the Kyrie clock. I don't want to cheat. Speaking of the Kyrie clock, though, the realm clock, it may finish by the time we get back to the chapel. Because I've already used... We gained a special ability from one of the zones where we could walk to a point without triggering the passage of time, right? We got the Veil Walk ability. But we've already used it last session to get us to where we could without the realm clock increasing. So we don't really have any other methods of prolonging the inevitable here. We are going to have to suffer through whatever happens to the realm once we pass through the gates. So I think like as Lazarus is like leaving, you know, the barred off section of town, some of the other, because we did talk to some of the villagers here before, right? They were sort of like nonplussed that we were there. Yeah, most of them like shut their doors. Well, now it makes sense that they were shuttering their doors because it turns out there were cultists in there who were like creating Ashborn effigies, right? But there was at least one of them that spoke to us and talked to us. Yeah, now that I see here, they say, please, they don't realize that their prayers will be the death of us. So at least some of the townsfolk knew that there were cultists in town who were pledging to Lysander and making these dark pacts and these dark effigies. So I think that like as Lysander is, you know, stomping out the last bit of the Ashborn and collecting his prizes, you know, the body parts and the blood and whatnot, and of course cracking open the sarcophagus on our back so that our skeletal servant can, you know, wander in slowly, sort of discorporating into components that is drawn inside of our vessels. We sling it back around our back. Some of the townsfolk probably crack open their doors and, you know, peek out at us. Necromancer, I see you've traveled to the condemned part of our village. You return unscathed.
Did you really think that the twisted minds of those rotten cultists would be able to fell a master necromancer such as myself?
You know, we hiss back. No, of course not. Master necromancer, of course not. But the threat has been felled then.
For now. You will hear their chants here no longer. But surely, unless this hymn-keeper is expunged from Kyrie, the dark influence will spread once again.
So is that where you go now? Do you travel to purge our realm
of Lysander's evil. Indeed. This hymn-keeper's voice, these dark songs, will be erased from your very shores, one way or another.
As we sort of push through the townsfolk, you know, some of them I think come up to us trying to like speak to us and maybe like give our thanks, but Lazarus has no desire to fraternize with these lowers, these lessers. You know, Lazarus is a bit of a headstrong, self-important individual, so just brushes by them, sickle in hand, cracking open his tome to read more of his incantations in preparation of his showdown with Lysander. Nar says Lazarus is such a grumpy boy. Listen, you know, we have so many heroic characters on our stream. You know, we have Therapy Mantis, who is nothing but nice to everybody. We have all the heroes of the level 1 campaign. We have Jason Covey, you know, our sort of spunky scrapper from the Cypher game. We need to have one protagonist who's kind of a dick, you know, to just balance everything out, to give everybody a little bit of a, you know, a full breadth and scope of our playable characters here. So that means Lazarus has to pass back through point 1, which is the anchor. Now, there's nothing else to do with point 1 since we've already searched it, but this does progress time on our realm clock, which we will mark. I think, though, passing the anchor, it's an obelisk, right? Yeah, it's a stone obelisk, which we described. The anchors are sort of these ancient standing stones, which the necromancers use to astral drift throughout the different domains, the different planes, which Kyrie is one, where they hunt the various horrors. So I think there's probably a moment where Lazarus takes a moment to commune with the anchor, you know, maybe takes out his tome, puts a gloved hand against the black stone, and lowers his robed head, and, you know, sort of mentally chants to himself. And you can probably see some of the glyphs and sigils across the obsidian surface glow with an otherworldly light as it responds to his powerful magics. You can't convince me that Lazarus isn't right, Beans? Wow, let's see. Wow, Beans agrees. Especially with sometimes how he acts tough, but secretly cares a lot. It's one of the reasons why Beans loves Lazarus so much. Wow. So we're really saying that deep down, Lazarus is just a gooey center out of all of that gray flesh and twisted, corrupt heart. There's a gooey center in the middle of this necromancer, and not just the gooey center from all the guts that he's been collecting from various monsters. Okay, so we'll take a moment to commune with the anchor.
We're close now. I can feel the tug of Lysander's corruption. Whether by spell or by blade, it will be extracted, and I will feast upon it, and give its strength unto you, anchor.
As the anchor sort of glows and shimmers in response. And so then we'll move another point to point 6, which is the chapel. So the realm clock for point 3 is almost completed, which is probably going to be very bad considering the last time that we filled a realm clock, it told us, like, nothing happens for now. It says nothing is immediately apparent. But having the realm clock hit midnight while we are at the chapel returning for the boss fight is, if anything, very thematically appropriate. So let's go back to the chapel and see what happens. The meadow, the forest, the church. Oh, there's actually 2 different delves. Okay, delve requires lore +2, which I believe we have. I think we have the max lore that you can have for this world. Yeah, we have 2 lore. So what is this? If we have lore +2, you know the way to the organ inside of the church and can damage it. When you face the horror, they do not have access to their organ's special ability. Oh, very cool. So once again, because we've traveled the world and we've done a lot of exploring. Oh, can I make the text bigger? Yes, I can. Bump, bump, bump. Hopefully that helps a little bit. I was reading the Delve Point 2 right here. So we know, so because we have lore 2, when we enter the church, we can travel directly to the organ and we can damage it, which prevents Lysander from using it during the boss fight. Very, very cool. Now, our sort of penance for this is because we have to mark that we search for the organ, which I think we should do. We've earned it. The organ is probably, you know, a scary ability if it's on the boss, the ending boss. That is going to tick over the final point on the realm clock. So whatever happens when the realm clock strikes midnight is going to happen if we cash this in. But I think it's a worthwhile cash. So I'm going to mark. Can I mark this with a scribble? Yep. Okay. So I will cash in our lore 2, which means in our journal, I'm going to say, what is the chapel considered? 0.6? Yeah. Oh, I think I called the boat is 0.7. I called the boat 0.6 before, so that's actually point. So 0.6 is the church. We have damaged and sabotaged Lysander's organ in the church. I'm gonna mark that down in my journal. Pretty awesome. So now, let's I mean, hey, speaking of musical instruments, it's time to pay the piper as we see what happens when the realm clock strikes midnight here. So we're gonna have to find the realm clock in the rules real quick. Here it is. Okay. So the last time we saw this, yeah. So the first time we filled up the realm clock, we lost each of the type of component, right? We had a ghostly choir procession travel throughout the realm and steal some of our components, which was nasty. Then clock 2 filled, and nothing happened aside from the realm being blanketed in a scary, eerie fog, right? So, you know, that's unfortunate, but it didn't really say anything. But let's see what... Oh, Piper says, pay me. Where's Piper? Where'd she go? I'll pay you in cuddles, baby. Wherever you went. Oh, I think she left the couch and is now making a little nest on the bed. Oh, poor girl. She's sleepy. Sleepy girl. So let's see what the final countdown is for our realm clock. It's the final countdown. Clock 3. Your vision swirls as a hymn rings loudly in your ears. Dropping to your knees, you pass out. Well, that's not great. I don't love that. Wake up in the church at 0.6. You must now face the horror. You complete no other actions, and you move to no other points. Okay, so, I mean, I guess fortunately, we were already headed there in the first place. That would have been a really awful effect to get if we were still exploring the realm. To immediately be transported. Oh, wait, is the are those doo-doo-doos the organ nar? Do 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 do. Is that what I'm hearing in my mind's eye? Because that's what my mind's ear. Is that what I'm hearing in my mind's ear? That would have been a really unfortunate sequence of events to happen. Oh, the final countdown. Do-do-do-do. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But hey, I guess there's a lot of musical notes happening in this realm. Luckily, we're already at the church, so the only thing this does is take us directly to the horror, which we were going to anyway. And honestly, kind of fortuitous that it ended when it did, because we still got to cash in the ability to sabotage the organ right before that triggered. So that actually worked out very well in our favor. That's what they're playing on the organ. Well, they can't now since we sabotaged it. Yeah, oh, that's interesting. So if we think about the sequence of events, right? We push past the huge double doors of the dark church. This was our sort of our art that we've been using to represent the realm of Kyrie and the dark chapel at its that sort of the entire realm is situated around, right? So we push open those double doors using the lore. Oh no, did the stream freeze for anybody else? I'm still here. Oh no. Oh, it says never mind, it's back. Good. I'm just gonna say good in chat. We push open the heavy double doors of this cursed church, which Lysander has spread its dark gospel, you know, its fiendish gospel, pledging his village to some fiendish, nefarious force. We walk through its painted halls, which are now sort of rolling with an ethereal fog clinging to the tiles, stained with blood. We saw that some of the congregation were being offered up in like offering bowls and like sacrificial plates. So I imagine there's probably other grisly totems, you know, of the villagers which have been sacrificed to Lysander's dark benefactors, spread throughout the temple. As our foot falls upon the stone, we plumb our knowledge of the realm as we pace down these dark hallways, seeing grand mosaic and bas-relief carvings of the faith and the church, the religion of this world, which I imagine has now been like carved away and bloodstained and like defaced by Lysander and his faithful. As we follow it into a large central chamber, we see this beautiful, well, once beautiful, right, organ, which is now tarnished, twisted. I imagine it's just this like opulent, gigantic, what's the word? Monument of a musical instrument, you know, multiple layers of keys, multiple tubes that raise up into the ceilings. And I imagine that because there has been a ghostly choir that has been following us and has been echoing out of the chapel this entire time, that there may be like spectral ghost-like figures who are like dancing or like in some sort of like rhapsodist kind of prayer in this main hall. There might even be like a few ghosts who are like playing the organ for the rest of their spectral congregation. As we approach the organ, we crack open our tome, which, you know, the ancient sigils that make up its pages glow with an arcane light as we stare at this artifact to Lysander's power.
Once, this great organ compelled the people of this realm, held their faith true, gave them hope. Now, it is nothing but a tool for Lysander's wickedness, and it shall no longer be abused.
As we crack open our tome and begin to whisper some ancient incantations.
Araksuruki me etu natu,
And as we are whispering these words and, like, echoing, our voice, begins to, like, shake the stained glass windows and, like, cracks some of the glass and, like, sends some rubble spilling out of the fissures in the ancient stone. We can see that the organ's keys begin to, like, twist and crack and, like, fall off, and some of the massive pipes that, like, stretch along the ceiling bend and shift, creating, like, these warbled, aching notes as the ghosts all turn their heads towards the organ, which we are sort of collapsing in upon itself by the sheer force of our magic. They all release these banshee-like wails of despair. As the hold of their souls from this organ is banished, as they are winked out of existence in a flash of spectral light, leaving us alone with the organ, but not alone from the horror of Kyrie. As we sort of are standing there, self-satisfied with our feat of banishing Lysander's power over his organ, we begin to see that same mist that's been trailing us for the past couple of hours, across Kyrie, begin to grow in thicker plumes, almost snaking its way down the hallway, piling in from the double doors that we've left open outside, as it almost like sentient tendrils of gas and smoke. That whale reminded me of the one from The Nightmare Before Christmas. There's so many good whales in The Nightmare Before Christmas, but thank you, I'll take it. These sort of tendrils of sentient smoke crawl their way down the hallways, almost like seeking us, and then finally finding us begins to, during Jack's lament, perfect, nice. Hey, great moment. Begins to twist around us. Lazarus, I think, confused, draws his sickle in one hand, book in the other, as we sort of spin on our heels and look at the smoke, creating this small barrier around us, as we hear a disembodied voice echo from a bodiless presence, a malevolent presence, a pressure that bears down upon our shoulders. The intruder of Kyrie. The one who has defied my sermon, who has ruined my congregation. I have been looking for you, interloper, and you have finally delivered yourself unto me. I would thank you if your actions were not so misguided. You have done a great deal of damage to this church, to my faithful, but worry not. Their souls are safe with their Lord, their Savior, Lysander. And soon you will be brought to bear witness to this truth. Now come to me, come to Lysander, and have your vision opened. As the smoke finally falls on top of us, as it overwhelms our senses, as once again, as the realm clock dictates, we fall unconscious, as we are teleported, we are carried through this portal of smoke to the deeper recesses of Lysander's chambers. So yeah, I think this is gonna be the boss fight. I'm gonna have to set up for it, but hey, we're here. So let us take a look at how it is set up. We got the church, we got the horror right here. The flavor text. High Priest Lysander has seen God. He certainly saw a god, but not the one he was looking for. Ever since that fateful day, he has been playing that organ in the church. At first, the locals were worried, and then they joined along. The song is infectious, and slowly changes anyone who lends their voice. Put an end to the music, and reap Lysander's soul. Hell yeah, okay. So this is it. We gotta set up for the Lysander boss fight. Preparing for the fight. The setup for the fight depends on how many of the Kyrie realm clocks have been filled up. Oh, great. So you mean all of them? Less than 2 clocks. So that doesn't apply to us. 2 full clocks does not apply to us. 3 full clocks. So I'm assuming that Lysander will be the strongest Lysander can be, much to my chagrin. If all 3 realm clocks have been filled, and you've been summoned to the church, yes I have. Yeah, you've faced Lysander at his most powerful. Not only will you need to fight through the congregation to get to him, God, but he has been imbued with the soul power of those the ritual has already drained. Well, great. The setup is the same as the 2 full clock setup. However, Lysander is more powerful. Use the Lysander Reborn stats when you face him. Perfect. We love when the boss fight has the words Reborn in the stat block. That sure doesn't... That isn't gonna mean anything terrible for us. Okay, so this is his Lysander. Alright, so we're not gonna... Alright, we're not going to look at that yet because we want to set up the boss fight proper. Speaking of boss fight proper, let's put on some more intense music to get our blood boiling. So if 2 of the 3 clocks have been fully filled, the congregation has gathered at the church. The bodies of the locals have been infused with their song, and they will defend Lysander and the church at all costs. You will need to fight your way to the horror. In order to fight Lysander, you must complete the following fight. Afterwards, you may attempt to kill Lysander. So, terrain, permanent, difficult. Okay, Grin, cultists. So we're gonna have to generate a few assets here. Let's take a look at what we got going on right now. Okay. Difficult terrain. All right, what I think we can use here, we can use the picture of the, because a lot of these we already have. We already have cultists, we already have grins. We can use the totems and the picture of the church to represent the battlefield for the church itself. Now might be a good time for some homebrewery in regards to what happens when your vessel is full. True, I'm kind of tempted to fight it blank for the first shot, just to see if I can beat it without any homebrew buffs, right? Just to like test my reaping powers. And then if we get schooled, then yeah, I'll be like, well, really, my vessel was full, so I think I should get a I should get a thing. Because I mean, the playtest, if we are to believe the playtest as written, we should be able to defeat it without any, you know, big buffs. But we'll see. Hey, if we get our necromantic ass handed to us, then we'll we'll adjust accordingly. All right, so we're gonna move Lazarus and our skeleton out. We're gonna move the town blocks out, and we're gonna set up our church. So let's take a look here. The permanent terrain is B2, C2, D2. That sounds like a B2, C2, D2. These sound like what do you call it? Star Wars drones. B2, C2, D2. All right. Let's grab the church. B2. You could say that if you die, you get like a second chance and come back at full or something. Oh, that's fun. Like your vessel saves you. Sorry, you mean the necrobolic soul chamber. Yes, of course. We've been saving up all of those body parts for a reason. All right, so we're gonna use C2D2, and then difficult is A3 through 5. Oh, this makes like a little, this makes like a little, what's the word? Like a little shrine, right? Because if I'm looking at this, the church, this church steeple right here is like the shrine, and then the effigies on the side are like, you know, like all of the cultists which have been sacrificed. So A3 through 5. And creates like a little box for us to fight in, creepy. And then, oh wow, wait, there's a lot of difficult terrain. Oh wow, that's not good at all. Yeah, there's a ton here. Difficult terrain we can still move through, but it deals, we take additional damage in it. Oh my god, the whole zone is difficult terrain. This is bad. Real bad. Oh my goodness. The Reaper starts in C1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's bring to the front here. Oh no. Okay. So we have to fight through. Oh wait, is this difficult C2 through 5? Oh no, did I set up for the wrong fight? Permanent is A2. Oh, I think I did. Dang it. A2, B2. Oh yeah, D2, E2. This is, so that we just got a sneak peek at what Lysander's boss fight looks like. But the difficult terrain is only C2 through 5. So this is almost like a, yeah, see, this is like a row of bodies, right? Like a row of sacrifices, which lead beyond like the church threshold, like the massive shrine gates that would lead into the room afterward, which is where we have to fight Lysander after this finishes. So now we have to place our enemies. So there's a Grin here. We haven't seen a Grin in a while. And then cultists, which we have seen more recently. Not too worried about them. They are at B1, B3, D1, D3. So B1, D1, D1, B3, D3, right? Which also, once again, sounds like Star Wars stuff. Okay. Interesting. Interesting setup for this fight. We're here. We have to fight through this corridor of sacrifices to get to the enemies beyond. I think what I'm going to do here before... We have all the parts to start the fight, but I think before we start the fight, what I want to do is generate some Lysander art so we're ready to go with him as soon as the fight starts. So I'm going to say a spooky and corrupt high priest wearing ornate robes that shows fiendish. We're gonna say this shows devilish mutations in their form, such as horns, leathery wings, and burning eyes of fire. Dark fantasy digital art. Let's see what that makes for us. Oh, Beans is talking to you over here? What does Beans say? Oh, ooh. Nice. I dig this one. I'm not gonna save it because I think it'll pop up if I save it, but that's a fun one. Okay, so back to the fight at hand, which we can now, I think, start in earnest. Oh boy. Aww. Beans is just so curious. Let's talk. We have the grin. Oh man, the cultists are gonna be hard to keep track of. I'm gonna say cultist. I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. So cultist 1, cultist 2, cultist 3, cultist 4. So as we awaken in the chamber, sort of the smoke disappearing from our form, but still flooding the tiles of the church, right? Our consciousness cracks open as we look down. There's still like a slight blanket of fog right underneath our feet, and through that hazy barrier in our vision, we feel something sort of uneven squelch and maybe even crinkle. Level 1 adventuring. Next time you're on stream, you could give Beans some suggestions. It's just shame you're not on stream right now. I know, Beans is never really paying attention to when I'm playing. It's just always he's too busy begging for food and wanting to fight other dragons. So we sort of part our vision through the fog, and we can feel something squelch and crunch underneath our footfalls as we look down, and we see that we are standing atop a collection of body parts and totems of wood that have been crafted in the name of Lysander and the dark god in which he saw dried blood staining the marble beneath us. We hear a sort of chittering, sickening laughter from across the hallway as there's a glowing reddish light as a toothy maw of a grinning imp sort of stares back at us.
He's awake. He's awake. Blood for Lysander. Blood for the hymn keeper. Let your song sing for him. Sing for him.
As the cultists all raise their arms up. Blood for Lysander. Blood for Lysander's song. And you also, you hear Lysander's disembodied voice echo from beyond the chamber, beckoning us forward. Yes, interloper. They clamor for your blood. Your blood, which will fuel our song, put us closer, ever closer to the truth that I saw. You can either join us in spirit, or you can join us in ritual, as we use you, drain you, in name of the spirit of our divine Savior. What
do you say?
And Lysander, Toothy Maw. Now, where have you seen that one before? I'm pretty sure it had to do with a frozen glaciopod, I believe. A giant alien monster which was rampaging through a research facility, maybe, in the Cypher game. That being said, I do love the term Toothy Maw. I use it a lot for any time there's a monster with a lot of teeth present. As Lazarus hears Lysander speak back to him, I think there's like a flick of our sickle and a crack open of our book.
Your words do not scare me, false priest. Your dark god is nothing but a soulless reflection of your own twisted desires. I will ensure that your congregation and its fetid gospel are finally put to rest. So be it, interloper. You have been given your chance. Kill him.
You hear Lysander whisper as the cultists raise their hands. Blood for Lysander! Blood for his song!
Blood for his song! Blood for his song!
As battle is joined. Does Creep the Nothic have a toothy maw? Yes. Creep the Nothic has one of the toothiest of maws. And big eyes to see you with, my dear. Okay, so now we can start the fight proper. This is a big fight. Big fight. All right, so the first thing that we want to do, and we have to beat this fight to get to Lysander. All right, this is the most enemies we've ever faced at once. So, here we go. First things first, we have to roll for all of the cultists and the Grin. So that's 5 enemies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got a 1, we got a 5, we got a 4, we got a 4, we got a 4. Those are all pretty decent rolls for them. On a 1, a Grin heals all enemies 1, but oh wow, the Grin heals all enemies 1. And also moves 1, harms 1. It has a range of 3. 1, 2, 3. So currently the Grin can hit me from its current space if I don't move, if I don't draw a move in my next die roll. So we're gonna have to pay attention to that. So that's a harm 1, range 3. Speaking of toothy maws, do you have a toothy maw? Wow, Beans knows that he transforms. Beans knows that he has a toothy maw. Okay, so this imp is lining up a fire blast. Cultist 1 gets a 5. Oh, they all get move 1, harm 2s. So move 1, move 1, move 1, move 1. Okay. So these guys are about to head into the chamber with the Grin. Let's roll and see what happens with us. We're gonna roll 2 die. A 5 and a 5, 2 solid rolls, 2 solid rolls. We could teleport. 5 is a move. Move 1, harm 2. What we could do here. 2 5s, right? Can I teleport on a 5? I can. But I'm also... Okay, so here's the thing. I can kill a cultist in this turn, but if I do, reaping him will yield me no benefit because I'm already at the maximum amount of parts that I can carry. Ooh, a half-orc lichen blood hunter. Undercover, you're gonna give the baddies inspiration? You're gonna give the Cult of Lysander a bonus? Oh god, okay. I guess I'll write here at the top of, how dare you, baddies inspiration. So, baddies, bad inspo, I'm gonna write. Oh, I need to make that one to fit on one, there we go. No. Oh boy. Alright, wasn't me at this time, said Nar. Yeah, rarely, both of you trying to kill me. A half-orc lichen blood hunter with a toothy maw. Wow, Beans knows that orc's got a toothy maw. Actually, a orc werewolf probably has a lot of teeth going on. How could Undercover do this? Giving the baddies inspiration. Why are you two trying to kill me? So I just got here. I literally just woke up in this cursed church. Okay, so here's the thing. If I use a body part, what's more worth it? Using a body part to cast a spell, and then so I can get a maximum amount of body parts later, or kind of wasting the body part now to get a quick kill. I think maybe that, because I could summon a skeleton here. Excuse me. Let me check my things again. 2 5s. I could summon a skeleton and move. Oh, but we resolve our things first. Huh. Which means the skeleton could move. But then it would not be able to attack, because it has a range of 1. Unless I summon it here. Here we go. Here's where I start doing some math. And then where's my move? My move is it's a range 1 on the scythe, 1, 2. I could at least dodge the attack. Or teleport up to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. How much is this cultist gonna do? Cultist 4 is gonna do. He rolled a what? A 4. Gonna do 2 harm. Yeah. Maybe I just kill it. Maybe I just waste the body part. There's still a lot of cultists left. I can still reap a lot of body parts. Okay, so if I use the 5, to teleport, and then use the other 5 to harm 2. So I go 1, 2, 3, right? So I pass through this cultist along the way, which will haunt him, right? That means he'll take 1 extra damage. That is using the first 5 on my teleport. Then I use the other 5 to do my strike, which is a move 1, harm 1. I won't even have to move. I'll just stay there and strike. So 2 plus 1 will be 3, which should be enough to kill a cultist. I just won't be able to take the body part. Now that I recall, my Sunday D&D game is actually streamed. I sometimes forget that. Oh, Nar, you should link us sometime. Post it in the post it in the Discord. I'm sure we'd love to have some more community members watching some games. Okay. I think that's what I do. It's gonna be a waste. I'm not gonna get the reap benefit, but considering that we're so outnumbered, I think getting an easy kill and dodging this fire blast is probably the smartest move. So that is what we are going to do. So that all resolves. Normally I would keep it on there. Oh wait, no. Edit, undo, delete. I think this remains. Now that I recall, Undercover says, I've tried to stream Moonshades, but nobody seemed interested. I wouldn't say that, I just, you know, our community's growing. Once it gets a little bigger, we might have more opportunity for it. Okay, let's see here. So, then we follow the rest of the logic. So, the imp would fire a bolt of fire here, but it doesn't deal any damage to me. I'm already over here. Yeah, so basically, is there a promo channel, or should I just put it in the other games section? Nar, there may be a promo channel, I forget. If not, I'll make one. So I'll do that tomorrow, and then I'll send you a DM to let you know for sure. Yeah, so basically all the cultists begin to pile on down through this corridor. The imp sort of grinning wide with fire burning at the edge of its fangs, stares at us with this ethereal light behind its eyes.
Your blood, boiled or cooked, it's all good. All good for Lysander!
You know, it belches out a bolt of fire. We quickly disapparate. We take on our spectral form as the fire blasts right through us as we disappear, and then skitter our way across and float through the mists into the other part of the cathedral. The cultist, sort of looking around confusedly, wondering where we'd went, turns around too late as our sickle is embedded into his back. Oh, Lysander, I have failed you. And collapses down in a pool of its own corrupted blood as we pull our sickle free.
Your faith was weak.
Lazarus and Lysander, the two big bads coming up against each other with L names, spits on the cultist and curses their name as the cultist is slain. I don't get any benefit for killing him other than the death, but hey, we have that to our name. Then the other monsters cannot resolve their harm, so we go back to the top of the round. So here's what I'm gonna do. Imagine if Lazarus tamed or cowed one of those imps to be his familiar.
Oh, Lazarus! Lazarus! I'll get you some bones, Lazarus. I'll get you some blood. What do you need? What do you need?
Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do for the inspiration, which chat has so graciously given the enemies. Thanks, friends. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So Cultist 4 is dead. So I'm gonna roll twice for each enemy, and then I'm going to give them the highest result on each die. Which is probably gonna suck for me. But hey, I am nothing if not a necromancer of my word. So, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means I have to roll 8 times. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Oh, God. Okay. So the grin gets a 6. Jesus. Oh, my God. Cultist 1 gets a 6. Cultist 3 gets a 4. And Cultist 4 gets a 4. Undercover says, hey, can't have things be too easy for you. Honestly, fair. Lazarus has been doing really well, been performing very well these past couple of fights. Only is really down 1 health from healing in between combats, so, you know, it's due time, but still. Okay, so now we're gonna have to resolve the enemies. So on a 6, this thing moves 1, harms 1, which is actually pretty good for us considering that a move 1, harm 1 still does not allow it to attack us. It needs to be orthogonal. Could add extra traps or obstacles to the cultist hideout to make it more challenging. Or perhaps give the cultist some unexpected abilities that they've gained from the baddie inspiration. What do you think? Ooh, Beans is using some GM intrusion style logic over there. I love it. Okay, so... but we still have to resolve its 6 effect. Oh, no! The Grin getting the 6 is probably the worst possible result because when a Grin gets a 6, it turns off all spells for the round. I forgot about that. So we don't have any of our spells this round. We can only rely on our weapon. And I guess our relic? Because it's not a spell. That's rough. Okay. Cultist 1 gets a move to harm 2. So 1, 2, they can occupy the same space. Cultist 2 gets a move 1, harm 1. And then Cultist 3 gets a move 1, harm 1. Okay, so they are all sort of closing in on me in this corner of the cathedral. As the imp begins to glow with even brighter hellish light, you can see some fiendish sigils sort of like painting the air around it in fire as it begins to gibber some unknown tongue. Uruki, mata, mata, mata. There's like an explosion of fire around it as a heat wave rolls through the temple, and as it passes over Lazarus, you know, we're like holding out our tome, beginning to channel a new incantation. And as we're speaking our words of power, we see the lights flickering on our tome, all sort of whiff out as the imp casts a zone of anti-magic throughout the cathedral. I could see Beans being an interesting form of prompting for solo RPGing, especially for the more freedom ones like the Cypher and the Mythic game. Yeah, absolutely. I think Beans could be a great resource for the GM intrusion stuff, or if we just need like to fill in a quick idea on stream. It's a pretty handy tool, which is another reason why I was interested in it. All right, so we don't have any spells this round. Ooh, but we did roll high. But we can only really use it on one thing. Let's take a look here. Okay, I have an idea. It's reaping time! I have an idea. I can get blood back from a cultist on a kill. Now, the cultist is standing on difficult terrain, which, if I am not a liar, and I try not to be most of the time, I try not to be. Difficult terrain. Difficult terrain represents part of the environment that can be traversed or walked on, but is precarious. When a character is on difficult terrain, they suffer -1 harm to any actions they take. -1 harm to any actions they take. They suffer -1 harm, but doing so is precarious. I feel like that should mean that I take 1 more damage because I'm on the dangerous terrain. I don't know why I would take less damage that is precarious. They suffer -1 harm to any actions they take. Unless that's meant to be like they suffer a -1 to, and like to resolve the die of any actions they take. But it specifically says harm. There's not a lot of mechanics in the game that manipulate die rolls like that, especially in one word like harm. I'm going to assume it means beings on that terrain take an additional damage to make things simple on ourselves for the playtest. So, because the cultist... This scythe was made for reaping, and that's just what it'll do. One of these days, this scythe is gonna reap all over. Bang, 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 bang. Are you ready, Lazarus? Start reaping. Okay. I think I can't use my spells, but what I can do is I can actually use my Neophyte's Tome, right? To, I can consume some blood. So if I go to my inventory, I'm gonna consume some blood, which allows me to heal 1 point. Right? So now I'm back to full health. Now, because the cultist is standing on the difficult terrain and is susceptible 1, if I use my 6 to do a move, or a 5, either or, to move 1, harm 2, I can... Oh man, the construct is telling us this is a Cypher System stream, but it's not. So I need to fix that for future iterations. I could strike 2. It has susceptible 1, so that's 3 damage, which would kill the cultist. And then... Whoa, yeah. Yeah, Beans did notice that you played Cypher System. That's cool. Beans, you're a smart dragon, my friend. I can kill this cultist and then immediately reap back the blood that I just consumed. And then I won't be in damage range of any of these enemies. Yeah. So I didn't get to use my spells that turn, but that was a really high roll, all things considered. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I think there's a wave of fire that rolls through the cathedral, right? Disables my magic as one of the cultists is rushing forward towards me, reaching into the folds of his robes, and then shing, pulls out a wickedly curved, sacrificial dagger as it like points to us. Blood for Lysander, you will give unto him for our God, for our chosen. Oh, you know what? Actually, speaking of Beans, always hungry. Hey Beans, can you give us a name for the dark god? God, for the dark devil creature that Lysander worships. Let's see if we can use Bean to help us create some content for our How about Nixith, the unholy one? It has a nice ring to it, plus it sounds kind of creepy and ominous. Perfect for a dark devil creature. What do you think? I think it sounds pretty good. So yes, there's like pointing a blade towards us as he says, "Blood for Lysander, a gift to Nixith, a gift to Nixith." And then like as the cultist is approaching us, we see as it passes through the threshold of all of the grisly totems that have been laid at the feet of the altar of Nixith. As Lazarus decides to capitalize on this moment, the cult is sort of like struggling through all of the body parts and the slick blood on the tiles. Your hubris shall be your undoing. as we rush forward, ching, sort of flicking our wrist and grabbing our sickle. The cultist tries to raise up his own blade in time, but slips on some of the blood and yet lets out a confused yelp, ah! As we take our sickle and bury it deep into the neck, just catching the hook right in the collarbone and sort of grinding it around for a little bit. The blood splatters upward, and I don't think, because this is a weapon-based effect, I know we what's the word? We narrate it as a magical power, but because it is routed from the scythe, I believe we can still pull the blade free, and as we do, the blood levitates off of the steel and becomes a red viscous essence, which is then drawn into our sarcophagus and becomes part of our component collection. So yeah, there we go. And that's that round. Okay, so now that we don't have any more extra die from chat, thanks y'all, we can roll these monsters as per normal. So we're gonna go Cultist 3 is down, so we only have Cultist 1 and Cultist 2 and the Grin. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. So we got a 2, we got a 4, we got a 5. Oh, yeah, and we also consumed some blood that round, so I imagine that's us cracking open our tome and whispering some words, right? As, like, the words that, like, our vessel begins to glow with, like, red light. As the very pages of our tome, like, the ink begins to glow red, right? As, like, we channel the blood through our sarcophagus into our tome, and the blood sort of, like, ekes up. It's, like, levitating up outwards out of the book, and then spiraling into, like, this animate tendril of... Oh! Did we get to see the D20 on the chat screen? I missed it. I had it on performance mode. It should let you see the die roll. Yeah, I know. Upgrade. Lots of new tools. Look at us. Look at us upgrading our stream. How exciting. I don't know what we can really use it for yet. It might be a fun thing to use for, like, inspirations, or, like, you know, maybe there's a channel point redeem where you can use your roll for, like, a roll that we make. Maybe I'll draft that up tonight. That might be fun. But yeah, I think it becomes, like, this, like, tentacle of blood, right? That, like, that we, like, take a deep breath in, like, and we, like, sort of, and we, like, it slithers down our throat, and we, like, guzzle it as our eyes, like, pulsate with, like, crimson light, and our wounds begin to seal shut. Okay. So we got a 2, a 4, and a 5, which means the Grin moves 1, harm 1. This would be... Oh no! Why did you roll so many? I might be able to clear it. There we go. I think I cleared it. If I just refresh the element, I think it clears it. So that will put the imp in range to deal damage to us. Then we have a move 1, harm 2. Move 1, harm 2. Move 1, harm 2. Okay. And then all enemies this round deal 1 harm. Okay. I'm sorry for my degeneracy. Listen, that's nothing you have to apologize for to me, Nar. If anything, our community is full of lovable degenerates, and that's exactly how I want to keep it. Okay, so with that, I think the imp sort of begins to once again gibber some ancient words.
A brand for blood, a burning brand for Nixith, for Nixith, for Nixith,
and like raises up its arms as like another wave of fire rolls out as hellish sigils float through the air. All of these little motes of fire ricochet off of its body and find the cultists, right? And like land on their knives. And you can see like a devilish rune imprinted across the steel as suddenly they come to life with red flaming auras as they are now dealing additional harm this round. So let's try and not get hit, huh? Because that would kind of suck. Let's roll our die. Roll a 1d3. Maybe is 1d4 the lowest it goes? Roll 1d4. Yeah, it knows a d4. I guess that's the lowest it goes. Okay. Let's roll. Bump, bump. A 4 and a 2. A 4 and a 2. One of those is pretty respectable. I could also sum them. Oh, I haven't summed anything this game yet. It looks like it doesn't recognize the 2 either. Okay. So let's take a look at our items. What do we got going on here? A 4, I could summon a skeleton. 2, I could move 1, harm 1. If I summon a skeleton, it's just gonna die. If I use a 6... If I use a 6, actually, though, if I sum them, I think I can kill this cultist and kite the damage. Oh, okay. Beans can roll the die. the secret die. Beans has the cheater's die, the secret die in the back pocket. Yeah, actually, if I actually cash in the 4 and the 2 as a 6, I can put that all back into my... Ha. Ha 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 ha. Actually, yeah, why don't I do this? Why don't I use one of my body parts, right? I consume a component. This will give me an extra move for the round, so I can move 3 spaces for the round. If I use the 6 on a move 2, harm 2, so now it's a move 3, harm 2, right? So if I'm here, Beans is like, cannot compute. If I move 1, 2, then resolve my damage mid-move here, right? I can kill this cultist because it's standing on the difficult terrain. So I will deal 3 damage and immediately get back the body part that I claimed, right? And then end my turn here, which puts us a little bit further away from the imp and makes it harder for him to blast us with some fire damage. And then, yeah, I automatically reap that, so that's not difficult terrain. I think that's pretty wise. We're keeping our components topped up at any rate. We're a necromancer, and right now we're just bossing everyone with our sickle. We're not even like summoning skeletons or anything. Yeah, I mean, this difficult terrain is actually very helpful for us considering that they all had to file onto it to attack us. So that actually worked out into our favor. But what does it look like when we consume a body part? This makes us faster, right? So it's almost like it empowers our body. So like I imagine, what color do they use for the body parts? Like a bluish. I think I have that reversed for, yeah. I think like, yeah, what happens is like we crack open our neophyte's tome and we're saying some incantations, right? As we see like this bluish glow echo out from the sarcophagus as we begin to consume some of the flesh that's inside of there. From our tome, that same bluish light paints itself across the arcane sigils and writings on the parchment. But what happens to our physical form is that all that extra mass, that meat, that muscle that we've stored, right, is channeled from the sarcophagus into the tome and then into our bodies, right? So you can see, Lazarus is usually wearing these thick, these robes and like folds of cloth. You actually see his flesh like fill out the robe from underneath as like our muscles and like our physical density and our mass like grows underneath our clothing, right? And that is so we like use the body parts to empower our own physical form momentarily as we're able to move faster, strike harder, and as we are running by this cultist who is sort of like watching in wide-eyed amazement, his blazing dagger still held high, ready to strike at us. We are far too fast as we flick our wrists, shing, and our sickle is there. We draw it, it's that anime run by the enemy as we swing our blade and they swing theirs, and there's a moment where our backs are facing each other and our, my cloak is still settling, their robes are like billowing in the wind, and then suddenly there's a gout of blood that explodes out of the side of the cultist. Nixith! As it collapses forward and begins to stain the marble chapel floor with the viscera. As we spin our sickle back at our sides, we immediately get to use our reap ability. And so you can see some of the cultist's body like deflates and shrinks, like the flesh becomes emaciated against the skeletal form as we immediately draw some of the meat and mass and muscle into our sickle and into our vessel, our sarcophagus, as it glows with that otherworldly blue light, as we instantly reclaim the body that we had sacrificed. And yeah, that's a great round for us. That's a big damage round. We moved a lot. We're doing really strongly in this opening fight against the congregation. So now Cultist 2 is down, which means it's only Cultist 1 and the Grin. So let's roll 2 dice. Oh, no. Oh, no. The Grin rolled a 6, which means it's going to shut off our magic again, which is super annoying. But the Cultist only gets a 3. Which should give us some leeway, some leniency in terms of what we're able to do. So, Grin is going to move 1 closer to us. Cultist probably has, what, a move 1, harm 1, I want to bet? Exactly, move 1, harm 1. Wait, was Beans talking to Undercover? Oh, wow, interesting. It must know that we're playing a necromancer. Okay. So then this gets a move 1, harm 1. Actually, no, we'll move him down here, because they attack at range 1. Okay. And then we can't use our spells this round again. So we're just gonna have to hope our sickle does the job. Let's roll twice. Bum, bum. Oh, that's a rough roll. That is a 1 and a 3. A 1 and a 3. Alright. I can't use any spells. I can move one, harm one. I could use my tome to block something. Otherwise... Oh, otherwise... Huh. How much damage does the demon have? 5. Oh, but I can't use my spells. Never mind. I was gonna talk about using my 1 to expend for Spectral Step, but my spells are shut down this round, so I can't. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sum my 1 and my 2 dice into a 3, right? Now the 3 should allow me to move 1, harm 1. So I'm gonna move here. Ah, no, but then I'll move here. Because otherwise, then the imp could hit me too. But you can't hit me diagonally. So I'm gonna move here. The cultist is dealing 1 harm this round, but if I consume a bone, I can Bean said, let the DM do, let the DM do the GMing. That's funny. Beans, thank you for not putting me out of a job just yet. Okay. Yeah, if I consume a bone, I can actually create block 1, right? So if I create block 1, that means I can absorb the hit. Oh, but I'm gonna take 1 extra damage because, so I will. Yeah, maybe that's all right. How much I can get any type of component from the grin. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move here, which puts me susceptible to damage, just like the cultist. The cultist is gonna strike for harm 2, but I am going to consume a bone to give me block 1, which means -1 damage from the 2. I will take 1 point of damage, right? However, I am doing 1 harm plus 1 harm from them being on difficult terrain, which is 2 harm, which means it puts them at 1 remaining health. 1 out of 3 HP. Yeah. So what does that look like? I think that's like, once again, the imp begins chanting some dark words.
Your magic is no good here. Your magic is weak compared to Nixith. Before the might of Nixith. Before the speaker, Lysander!
There's an explosion of fire around as a heat wave rolls through the chapel and steals our magic from underneath our breath. But right before it removes our ability to channel, because we can still use our relic, sort of getting a cadence now for this imp being able to disrupt our spell work, we crack open our tome, quickly bark out an incantation, Iraxutush, as a pale twilight gray light glows from our sarcophagus and from the pages of our neophyte's tome as we channel the power of bone through our vessel into our tome. We hold out our grimoire almost outward. It almost levitates before our hands open, right? As from the pages spew out sort of an animate, what's the word? A shield almost. It creates like a ward of bones in mid-air. So it creates like this symbol before us created out of different collected rib cages and femurs that we've found. You're asking Beans how they would theoretically, that's funny, compose this like ward of bone in the air. The cultist tries to strike Lazarus through the ward with the dagger, and manages to pierce it to just nick our necromancer through the barrier, but the full force of the blow does not strike true as it has to wrestle through that obstacle that we've conjured before him. And as we push it aside our tome and like clasp it close, sort of dismissing the bone ward in midair, we swing with our free hand with our sickle and shing, slice forward deep into the cultist robes, still off their footing from standing on the slickened stones, painted with blood from the sacrifices that have come before, as we deal a near mortal wound, leaving it with only 1 HP left. It releases a gasp. Lysander, I will not fail you, not before the shrine of Nixith. But it is almost dead, so that's very good for us. Look at Beans giving expert DMing tips in the chat over here. All right, so we should be able to hopefully reclaim one more bit of bone from one of these monsters before the fights end. We still suffer 1 damage from that. I can't reap anything by the end of the round, so we go back to top of the round. Let's generate the monsters. There we go. This is what we needed, a moment of respite. The Grin only rolls a 1. The cultist gets a 2. Nar, oh my god, if he were to theoretically build stats for Necroku. Oh, of course Beans makes him a dragon. Because Beans loves dragons. Strength of 18, okay, pretty good strength. Pretty flexy at a dexterity 16. Oh, this is a bulky skeleton dragon. Remember, these are just theoretical stats. That's hilarious. Okay. So, we got a 1 and a 2. So that means the Grin, all enemies heal 1. Okay. So the Grin gives the cultist some health. It should not be enough to save him, though. But also the Grin moves 1, harms 1. So the Grin will be here, which should put us in range to be damaged unless something else happens. The cultist has a range of 0, which means the cultist can move into our space. So we are sort of totally not writing those down or anything. So now this should allow us to figure out what's happening. Now we have our spells back. Ooh, a 6 and a 5? These are good rolls. These might be battle-ending rolls here. Let's see, what can I do with a 6 and a 5? The cultist is still standing on haunted ground. Huh. If I use the 6... to summon a skeleton here in this unoccupied zone, and then I use the 5 to teleport. So if I go 1, 2, 3, this will haunt the Grin, which would normally deal extra damage, but it won't be in range to deal any damage to it. However, what's the word? Haunting also prevents them from moving the next round, so we can sort of halt it in its tracks. Then with the cultist here at 2 health, a basic skeleton deals 1 harm, and it's standing on haunted ground. It has 2 HP left, which means the skeleton would kill the cultist. Yes. I won't be able to reap it, unfortunately, but I will kill the cultist. However, the skeleton will still be around for the imp's firebolt. So the skellies normally have how much health? 2 health. So it will have 1 HP left. Right. Yes. I think I'm doing that right. Yeah. So teleport over here, stop the imp from moving. Then the imp will still... so the skeleton will be risen from probably the very same corpses that are used to create the totems that are like the difficult terrain here. Will rise up, and oh my god, yeah, will actually rise up from the totems on the cultist and grab them and drag them to the floor, and then just like with rattling and like gasping, sort of like claw and tear at the cultists and literally murder them on the same floor that the cultist was sacrificing other villagers on. So just becoming another corpse on the pile, right? But as the skeleton is clawing its way through that cultist, unfortunately the imp will be able to turn around just in time and see the skeleton making good headway on that creature. And then say,
oh no you don't. You don't harm the congregation. You do not harm the children of Nixith.
And then belch another gout of fire at the skeleton, which will blast a huge chunk of bones out of its corporeal form. It'll probably shatter probably like an arm off and send the scorching bits into the air. The skeleton is still standing, but barely. All right. So now it's just us versus the imp. I might choose a name like Anastasia or Genevieve. On the other hand, if I want to... Beans, Beans is an idea guy, Nar. Beans is like, here's what I might do, but I don't know how to follow through. You know that, and that's what you need from a GM. You need someone who's an idea person and a follow through. Beans is too busy just wanting to get fed and fight dragons. Okay. Brings us back to the top of the round. So that means oh gosh. Stop it with this 6. Alright, spells are off again, but at least it can't move. So what are we gonna do? Roll twice. A 4 and a 6. If I move, I can't use my spells. If I move my skeleton up 1, and I move me here, this would be 2 damage from me, 1 from the skeleton. The imp would try and deal 1 damage to me, although I could use bone to absorb the damage. But it's only 1, so maybe I just take it and save the bone. Because I can use some blood in when we travel to fight Lysander. I think that's what we do. I think that's what we do. So the skeleton... So obviously the imp is going to focus on us. Because there's a 7-10 split here. But... Thinking with my brain, thinking with my brain, thinking with my brain. So this would be 1, 2, 3. 3 damage, that's 2 out of 5 HP. And then we would take resulting 1 damage from the flame. And then it would have its movement speed restored for the top of that round. By the end of that round, I should say. Okay. So yeah, the imp releases another wave of anti-magic.
Your spells are no good here, necromancer. Not before the might of Nixith. Not before the hymn-keeper Lysander, his most faithful servant.
But at that point, we summon our skeletons closer as we close in on the other side.
Your foul tongue has vexed my magic for far too long, imp. It is time you find yourself in the realm of the beyond.
Shing, shunk. As we plunge it into the imp, it won't deal damage. I mean, it won't deal lethal damage, but it will still do a very healthy chunk, 2 out of 5 HP left. Skeleton still remains untouched. The imp will take the slice. As you see, like, the black ichor spill across its belly.
You may banish me, necromancer, but you will live with the burns of the underworld.
As it releases a gout of flame in our direction, as Lazarus releases a hiss of pain, as the fire singes through even our spell-warded robes. You can see some of our gray flesh from underneath our raiments, now blackened and charred from the beast's hellfire, as we now take a bit of damage. Alright, we're still doing pretty good. 8 out of 10 health. This thing's almost dead. I'm pretty sure we can close this fight. But we may suffer a little bit of damage in the meantime before facing Lysander. Alright, let's see. First we gotta roll for the imp. Rolled a 3, which is special effect, heal all enemies 1. So it's gonna go to 3 HP. Okay. And still a move 1, harm 1. Does it move though? Hilarious. Beans, we're gonna make a GM out of you yet. We'll make a GM out of you yet. Alright. Now, alright, so the Grin has 3. 3 out of 5. Skelly's got 1 out of 2. We have 8 of 10. Let's roll our things. We have our spells back. I have a 4 and a 3. That is a... Okay, 4 and a 3. Okay, so we can end this. If we... 1, 2... Yep, we can end this. We can end this. So, if we cash in our... Spectral... Oh, no, cash up our Spectral Step on the 3. 1, 2... We can haunt him again. and while haunted, he suffers 1 additional harm. With our 4, we can deal 2 harm, plus 1, which is 3. The skeleton will also hit him for 1, which is overkill at 4. But we'll also reap at the same time, which means we would get the option to choose to reap immediately. So we could replenish that bone that we just lost, which would put us at full materials heading into the final fight. Okay. And that is before the imp gets its trigger off. So yes, so the imp, which is now bloodied and sliced up from the sickle several times, black ichor sort of draining down its reddened leathery hide, looks at us with tired but hating eyes, you know, fire burning behind its gaze.
Do what you want with me, necromancer. I am small, insignificant compared to Nixith, and Nixith has breathed power into Lysander. Lysander's song has already stolen the lives of Kyrie. It will steal your life too, however far gone it is. Your quest is hopeless. Your quest is pitiless. And you will fall before Lysander, and you will be gift to Nixith.
And before that,
Lazarus says, glowering down behind his mask,
you will be a gift to my vessel.
and plunges the sickle down right between the brow of the imp as the skeleton holds the wriggling form still for Lazarus to truly embed that steel deep into its devilish hide. More black ichor is drained. Actually, no, we want bones this time because we were low on bones. We peel back the blade as the red flesh parts, and you can see a sort of an obsidian skeletal structure, a horned skull, sort of peel itself out from the fold of the cut that we'd made with our sickle. Like, oh my god, it's actually pretty visceral now that I think about it. There's like a puncture wound in the imp's head, and the skull is being drawn up against the puncture wound, so much so that it like splits the flesh and like pulls the skull out of the imp's body like a skin suit as the rest of its body like bursts into flames and dissipates into embers as the skull then dematerializes into like bone dust and essence and is drawn into our vessel as we absorb the imp's skull and bone fragments. We get to choose to reap the bones. So with that being said, the imp is done. We've slain the congregation of Lysander, but I mean, there's still one fight left. I expected us to be done this time around, but maybe this is a part 4. Maybe this is a part 4. I mean, almost 3 hours in for those 2 fights. I'm not mad about it. As we finish off the imp of Nixith, the fog, you know, that's been swirling at our feet sort of builds on either side of the corridor as once again it floods our senses, floods the room, and we hear Lysander's voice.
You have stolen the lives of my servants, my clergy, my faithful. You have taken from me the greatest soldiers of Nixith, God amongst gods, the Horned One, the father of our eternal song. You have shattered my organ, stolen our very chance from our breast. How dare you? How dare you defile this chapel, this place of Nixith's greatness? I tire of you, necromancer. I tire of your lies. I tire of your games. I invite you to end this once and for all. I invite you to face me, to stare before a true child of Nixith, and cower before the might that he may grant.
And you can see, like, as we were whisked away by the fog before, our bodies are sort of lifted into the air as we are drawn through the gateways, the threshold of this shrine, into the final chamber. I'm gonna see if I can't download this. Yes. As a shadowy winged form materializes through the smoke as we are faced with a priest wearing blood-stained robes, wearing amulets that have been defaced, a body, a physical form which has been mutated by otherworldly influence, two grand horns escaping their brow, the red eyes burning from the fog which has filled their main prayer chamber. As we can see, a grand shrine that was once, it probably looked quite angelic, but has now been chiseled crudely and modified to resemble a more fiendish figure, their patron Nixith behind him, as Lysander stares at us being drawn ever further into the ritual chamber.
Finally, the one who has broken the veil of Kyrie, who has entered through the anchor. You have caused my children, Nixith's flock, so much pain and aggravation. It will bring me such joy to finally cut you down.
And I think there is where we'll end tonight's session. I think we're gonna steal a fourth one out of this. Because we're going on almost 3 hours. Might as well save the boss fight for an epic conclusion. Am I right? Dang. Alright. I guess, I mean, we did, 2 fights is a good amount of, content to get through. Or a single night. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with where we ended. Oh, well, you know what I'm gonna do? Just doing some bookkeeping before we end our stream tonight. I claimed that bone, but I am going to use my Neophyte's Tome to immediately, because I'm still technically in combat, and normally I can only consume components during travel, but I do have the Neophyte's Tome, which allows me to consume components in combat, right? Oh, excuse me. So I will consume 2 vials of blood, which will put me down to 1. but that will let me start the next fight with Lazarus with full health. I'm sorry, with Lysander. Yeah. Dang. Gila just giving us one more night of content from Reap. Ain't mad about it. That's for sure. And the big boss has finally been unveiled. Lysander, the once priest, which has now been corrupted by the dark influence of Nixith, the devil which he foresaw as a god. Look at all this lore we're getting right at the tail end. Is the roller working? Should be. It should be visible. Roll 1d20 plus... Let me see if I do it. No, it's working for me. Maybe you have to input it without the spaces? Or I don't know if that... I think that should work, actually. Oh, there you go. Maybe you just needed a little reboot. Oh, that nat 20 at the end of the stream. A beautiful roll. But that being said, I think we're gonna go back to just chatting. I don't know if my just chatting screen has the roller on it yet since I just added it, so you might not see just chatting for now. But once again, thank y'all for joining us for another session of Level 1 Adventuring. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Reap. Thank you for playing with Beans, our new stream mascot and personality, which can chat with everybody, which is pretty exciting. Thank you for being here. As always, I am your host and game master, Wolfe Scott. If you are watching this, not live somewhere else, you are watching Level 1 Adventuring. What is Level 1 Adventuring? We are a role-playing game platform. We're a stream, we're a YouTube channel. We do digital video games like Solasta and Baldur's Gate 3. But we're also going to be playing, and we do play a lot of tabletop games. We play big group names, like we have a 5th edition D&D campaign going on, as well as smaller independent indie games like Reap, which you're seeing tonight, or Firelights, which we have an ongoing campaign of. Speaking of Reap, which is the game you're seeing now by Gila RPGs, this is a Souls-like, highly tactical solo RPG, which is based off of the Rune system made by the same author, Gila RPGs. The links... Reap is being kickstarted very soon. Rune is already out, so you can play Rune right now. Has a bunch of full releases already ready to go for it. Reap, which is the necromancer variant, is going to be in Kickstarter. We're going to have links to all of that both in chat here and on the YouTube, so you can go there, get notified to back it early, because there's going to be probably a ton of cool rewards knowing Gila. You're going to want to be a part of that. A big thank you to Tabletop Audio for giving us the cool sounds and soundscapes and atmosphere that we were using tonight to power our atmosphere for the stream. Big thank you to StreamLabs and StreamSpell for all the digital effects and visual powers that you saw gracing your screen. There's an affiliate link for us down below if you want to upgrade your own screen and give us a kickback. Please follow us on all of the socials, on our Discord, where we chat about all the games we're going to play. We meme. We're going to play some D&D together there very soon as a play-by-post server. On Twitter, where I post a bunch of free 5th edition content drops. Nar says, I guess we'll pick up this mini adventure of Necroku in the chat next time. Exact. Maybe it'll remember. I don't know. As our battle music starts again. No battle music. We have no time. Maybe it'll remember. I don't know. The first time we've tried it out. And I think that is all of my usual spiel. So as always, your time and energy is so appreciated. Your support is so... I was going to say appreciated, but I already said appreciated. Your support means the world. We've seen a lot of growth across all of our socials lately. The Twitter, the YouTube, here. And every time the numbers tick up, I get so excited, and I'm so happy to know that our stories are reaching more people, and I'm teaching people about game mastering and games they can play on their own, and how to have more fun with their friends in this hobby, which I love. So I am so thankful that you're here with us to share in that experience. There was going to be a stream tomorrow, but I think that is no longer happening. I have to shuffle some things around. So if you didn't catch what's happening, Necroku's trying to rescue Princess Charlotte from a cursed castle. Necroku! Hell yeah. You better get that princess. And that's when Bean says, but our princess was in another castle. So I might do another stream later on in the week to make up for the Tuesday stream. We'll see. Wednesday, I'm still planning on streaming. I don't know what it will be yet. It will either be 5th edition D&D if we can get the group, or I will sub in a different game, probably Firelights, because it's been a while since we've seen a Firelight stream, right? And I would like to continue Therapy Mantis' story for everybody. I will definitely see at least once more, maybe twice more this week, and then, of course, we'll see you next. But until then, I hope you all have a wonderful night and a wonderful rest and a great day tomorrow. That works for me, as I have a D&D game tomorrow. Anyway, yes, with your lycanthrope blood hunter, which I just learned about the half-orc. Pretty cool character build. With that being said, I hope to see you all very soon. And until the next one, be easy, be chill. My brain is shutting down. Y'all know what it is. I'll see you soon.